So welcome everybody to the what's the name of the podcast?
Are we ready? You guys ready to start?
I'm ready.
We've been ready.
Your camera's kind of. We got a nice like forehead view.
Yeah, you need to lower your camera. Like all we see is your forehead and your.
That's all right, man.
There you go.
There you go.
Oh.
Now it's too low.
Nah,
All right, Vince.
Yeah.
Well, is Vince the engineer?
You sound like a woman.
Hey, Vince, what are you in love with me, bro?
Vince?
You
Vince the engineer.
No,
It's-
I'm not trying to stare at your jug.
no. Look at me.
Yeah, only.
Aggressive, dude. I can think that
Why did
thing
Vince
like
freeze?
your
Why did Vince's
forehead.
thing freeze? Look at his mouth. But you see Vince frozen.
Yeah, I see
Yeah.
Vince frozen.
yeah. He definitely looked like he about to make a got move.
Damn, we were gonna start, but Vince thing literally blew up.
Oh, here we go, dude.
Vince, if you can hear us, turn disconnect and
Those were
reconnect.
things.
God damn, it's a good looking cat. Definitely got some meat to his bones though, that's for sure.
He put it on the show for you guys.
Oh, I'm good. I don't think I need to see a cat twerking on my screen.
That's
Yeah.
what you got.
My loss. Big, I made a short of you talking about Jason Kelsey, but I want to wait until he officially retires before I do anything with it.
Hey.
Bro,
Okay,
you're
let's
wearing a
start.
Hawaiian shirt. Bro's retired.
Well, he hasn't officially done it. He was talking
I
about
don't know.
it
Bro
out
had,
of
Bro
emotion.
had a Hawaiian shirt. He was trying to jump through a table at the Bills game, so.
Bro, he went shirtless at the freaking Bills game. He was shirtless at the Bills game. In the
He was
freaking.
trying to jump through the table, so I don't think he was worried about injuring himself. So
Yeah, you might be
Be
right.
shirtless and drinking beer.
You might be right.
Is that acting a fool, huh?
Jason Kelsey? Oh yeah, that was his first time meeting Taylor Swift too.
I would have expected that from Travis being the more irresponsible one, but I mean, he's retired. He has no more responsibilities, I guess. But
That was the first time he met Taylor Swift. He took shirt off in the cold.
like,
that's what I would. I think
you're
it's
dating for our brother.
If I've ever met Taylor Swift, I take my
Dude,
pants
Jason is
off.
happily married. Well, no, but yeah, I would assume he's happily married.
I don't know about happily, but wait, he's happily.
Who was hitting on his wife the other day? Was that Matt?
Mm.
Someone was hitting on
What?
Jason Kelsey's wife in the party the other day. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Matt.
They talking
You
about
had
wives, but I
yeah,
don't
his
know
wife
what
at the party?
he was talking about.
Yeah, he said she
That's
was hot.
crazy. You had Kylie Kelsey in the party yesterday.
Yeah.
Let's start.
You're
What
gonna
are we?
Three
what
dollars
game are
again?
we talking about
He said,
first?
"Let's start,"
Ravens?
and just didn't say anything. Yeah, we can start with the Ravens if we want. Yeah, we can start with the
Okay.
Ravens.
Hey, them dudes like being shirtless, bro.
We couldn't
I
remember
did
his
too,
name.
but I have short on camera.
Vince, do not freaking threaten us like that, bro.
I didn't
Do
threaten
not
you. I said I
threaten
did
us.
too, but I have short every time I'm on
Leave your
camera.
shirt on. Do not
Hey,
I'm
threaten.
going to.
Hold on a sec. Before we go any further, Vince, what is this hairstyle you rocking, bro? Tell me about this
I have
hairstyle.
It's the Red Rocket.
This is just leftover from what was I had yesterday with some sticking up in the background.
It looks like a
Vince,
mohawk, but
Vince,
he's
you
just losing his hair around.
Vince, you know what you should have said? You should have said, "What's your hairstyle?" That's what you should have said.
He just said, "Where's your hair?"
If we're being honest, my hairstyle is more popular than yours.
There you go. Hey, you ain't kidding. Now you look good, Vig. Don't worry about that gray though. You talked about the gray earlier.
no,
Don't worry about the gray.
I got a haircut like yesterday.
No, I don't usually get a haircut until the afro grows out.
Yeah, since you're the Ravens fan, how about you start with the Ravens game, Dwight?
I mean, like I said, the Ravens game, it was just a defensive game. Like it's how I expected the game to go. It really was. Unfortunately, it's not the outcome that I expected. Right? I mean, like we beat ourselves, and I think the biggest reason we lost, was the lack of run game. We just didn't run the ball very much. Lamar had 8 carries. He was our lead. He had the most amount of carries on our entire team. Justice had 3 carries for 3 yards. Gus had 2 carries for 26 yards. Like, we just didn't run the ball. And they don't have a great run defense. So I'm not sure why we didn't run the ball more. A lot of Lamar's carries weren't actually carries. They were just scrambles, and obviously those count as carries. So I don't know why we were trying to go so pass happy, especially because it was a bit rainy as well. I thought we were going to lean more towards the run. We're the best rushing offense in the league. I don't know why we wouldn't run the ball more than what we did. It just kind of surprised me a little bit.
Right.
And regardless of the lack of run game, we still passed the ball fairly well. It wasn't fantastic, but we know the Chiefs' defense is pretty good pass defense wise. Their pass defense is really good. They played sticky coverage. We still had a decent game in the air. Zay Flowers had a really good game. I didn't see too much from Likely. Mark Andrews was in there for a couple plays, but I ended up seeing him leave. So I don't know how fully healthy he was, but I don't know. I just didn't feel like we couldn't really get too much going offensively. And that's not news to me as a Ravens fan, because we do start off slow typically, and our defense will keep the game close, and then our offense would start hitting, and we just didn't hit. Like, the defense did its job, the offense we couldn't get it done. And I don't want to blame the refs. I don't want to blame Zay Flowers for that fumble. I just think the lack of run game is what really got us. What really got us, to be honest with you.
Right.
I agree. I think the Ravens kind of had a lot of mistakes that beat themselves more so than the Chiefs beating them. But like you said, other than that one pick, he threw fine. I feel definitely didn't run the ball, as you said. I don't blame Zay Flowers for the fumble. I do blame him for the taunt and then just blowing up on the sideline. But that's not that big of a deal. But yeah, it was just mistakes by the Ravens that kind of hurt themselves. They shot themselves in the foot.
Can I say one thing about the taunting? Because I see people talking about this, and I didn't really think about this. Zay did taunt, and I don't agree with the taunt. But let's not lie. Travis Kelce was doing some taunting too. And I'm not blaming the refs, but Travis Kelce was taunting too.
Correct.
So
I agree.
I kind of feel like the Zay Flowers taunt shouldn't have been called from what I was seeing from Travis Kelce.
Yeah, it was kind of a weak taunting call. Like, it was like people stand over people the whole game. Like, you see that.
Well, Travis Kelce did that to Kyle Hamilton on his first touchdown. When I was rewatching it, Travis Kelce literally stood over him.
He stood over him and then he threw the ball like right next to his face. But
again, I don't mind the flag being called on it, because I think it is taunting. But from what I saw from Travis Kelce in the first quarter after rewatching and seeing that he did the same thing to Kyle Hamilton and it wasn't called, I just feel like at that point the Zay call shouldn't have happened. But I don't want to blame the refs. I still think we were very much in that game, and I agree. I think we did just beat ourselves.
I think, the Ravens defense was there, and so was that Chiefs defense. That Chiefs defense was fucking playing really good. I felt like the Ravens should have ran the ball more, even when the rain started coming down more. That's when they should have started running it more, but they kept on passing it. Like, it seemed like the rain was coming down harder. Every time the rain came down harder, the Ravens were just coming back out and just keep on passing the ball. And you're like, I thought these guys were These guys were a run team. Why are they running the ball? But they had some opportunities there, obviously, with the Zay Flowers fumble, and like you always want to get that touchdown, but if Zay Flowers would have not tried to reach for it and just got down to the one, and they would have been able to punch it in with like Gus or something, it would have saved them that fumble.
We wouldn't have ran the ball with Gus. We would have did a play action boot to freaking Pat Ricard.
But what I'm saying is, like, it wasn't like fourth down. He didn't really need to try to extend into the end zone. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it kind of bit him in the butt because he stuck the ball out too far and they got knocked out. So I mean, if they don't get that fumble and stuff, the momentum doesn't shift, and the Ravens have a great shot at winning that game.
And I've said my piece on this Zay thing. Like, I understand, like, he could have fell down, and we had a high chance of scoring at the 1 or 2 yard line. But at the same time, he makes that play, great effort. That's all you're going to hear from people talking about Zay Flowers at that point. Great play, great effort. He had 2 hands on the ball. It's not like he wasn't, he had the 2 hands on the ball. It just got knocked out. Great play by Snead. I don't mind him diving for the end zone. I don't mind it at all. The fumble, it sucks that it happened, but it happened.
Right.
I think just as we keep talking about the Ravens, I just want to say the Chiefs. I mean, their defense. If they win a Super Bowl, if they beat the Niners, I think it is going to be based off that defense. They played really good coverage. They sent a good amount of pressure and blitzes. When they sent 4, they didn't get too much crazy pressure, but there were certain plays. Obviously, that Lamar strip fumble. I mean, that was a fantastic play by Charles Omenihu. You can't do much there. Obviously, they have Chris Jones. Chris Jones could be a game wrecker in certain situations. I don't think he did too much in the Ravens game. I can't remember too many plays that he made, but when he wants to turn it on, he can turn it on. So I think that the Chiefs.
Chris Jones actually. Sorry, I was just going to say Chris Jones came out in fourth quarter. I don't remember him coming back in, but anyway, keep going.
They just have a great defense. Trent McDuffie was an all-pro second team. That's the Snead. Snead's their best corner. He didn't even make an all-pro. They have a really good team. Justin Reed, right? Justin Reed's I would say underrated safety. They have what's his name? Willie Gay? Is it Willie Gay? He was injured. I'm sure he'll be back for the Super Bowl. I don't know. I just feel like with the quarterback like Mahomes, with a veteran player that knows how to get open like Kelsey, with a run game like Pacheco, with a coach like Andy Reid and a defense that's been pretty good. Again, they're susceptible to the run, which is kind of why it surprised me the Ravens didn't do it much. This team has a chance to win the Super Bowl. And we were kind of doubting them early on the year, right? We weren't really see this team as a Super Bowl team, and here they are again. But yeah, no, if you have nothing else to say about the Ravens and the Chiefs, then we can move on to the other game. Well, while we wait for Elmo, I just want to say one thing about I want to talk about the Ravens offseason. I was maybe going to bring that up, but we'll talk about it in the actual offseason after the Super Bowl. We can talk about our team's plans and what we want to see. But just as far as the season for the Ravens, I enjoyed this season. I thought it was a fantastic season. It was one of the most dominant teams I think that I've watched as a Ravens fan. Right, we were blowing out good teams left and right. Beat the Lions by a bunch. Beating the Seahawks at one point, they were doing really good. Beat the Niners on Christmas. The Dolphins on New Year's Eve. It was a fantastic team. Unfortunately, we didn't go where we wanted to go. But I gotta be able to remind myself of how lucky I am to have a team that goes to the playoffs, that can compete in the playoffs almost every single year. And we can't. There's a lot of teams that can't do that. And so I gotta remember that this is a good season for us. And then, though, yes, we had our eyes on something bigger. I just gotta remember this team and be happy for it. And hopefully, I get to see Lamar win his second MVP. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, we can get to the second game. I mean, it was. I was gonna say it was a blowout, right? At least the first half it was a blowout, and then it turned into a really good game. Was the Niners Lions? I mean, the Lions came up and showed out the first half. They went missing in the second half, but they came out and showed out. And,
they did.
I mean, it sucks for Lions fans, but you got to play 4 quarters. I want to get your take on the game though, Elmo.
Yeah, that first half, that was a rough time. It almost seems like the Lions showed up and the 49ers didn't. That 49ers defense was just not clicking the first half of that game, and the Lions were just doing whatever they wanted on offense. Our offense had some shows, and we had that pick, and it was tipped, but it's unfortunate, and it kind of the Lions just had so much more time of possession. They were just scoring on every drive, and every mistake that the offense did in that first half was just the Lions went back down and scoring, and it just put us out of that first half. But when you have a good coach like Kyle Shanahan, and you're able to turn your team around after halftime, and that's exactly what we did. And we came out, and our defense played phenomenally, way better than they did in the first half. Completely different defense, it almost seems like. We started getting pass rush. We started making plays on the plays up our secondary, and we were able to basically almost shut the Lions out in the second half. So, and then our offense obviously I mean, you can say some of the plays we got downfield were lucky and stuff like that. That tip catch to Brandon Ayuk. I mean, it was lucky, but that play right there is what kind of kicked that offense and our momentum, kicked the momentum over to us. And I think after that, then it's almost like at halftime, the 49ers are like, guys, we're the 49ers. Like, we got a better roster than what we're playing like.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought they just kicked it up. They kicked it up, and even though the 49ers haven't really been that great doing comebacks and stuff in the Kyle Shanahan era,
I'd say the more so the Brock Purdy era.
we proved that I feel like Brock Purdy proved himself that he's not a quarterback that can just play in a system. He can actually come down and make game-winning drives and drives that are important to the game. And I feel like that we're more lucky to have Brock Purdy than Garoppolo and all the past quarterbacks that we've had. He's definitely the best one we've had in years. And so I feel like I feel a lot better about games going forward, knowing that we actually have a quarterback that can push our team and give us good chances of win games that we're behind. So yeah, I feel good about the game. I mean, not the first half, but after the second half, by the time we tied that thing up, I was like, wow, okay, we might have a chance here.
Mm-hmm. And here's my question: was it more so a Niners win or a Lions loss in your guys' eyes?
I mean, you could say. I mean, well, technically it's both, but I mean.
No, I'm saying, but like, did the Lions lose it or did the Niners win it? You know what I mean?
I mean,
for sure, the Lions lost it. I mean, they had the lead.
17 points.
They had a 24-7 lead at halftime, which is a 3-score lead is a pretty good thing to have in a championship game, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And they just lost it.
I think we have to talk about the field goal, or I guess the lack thereof of field goal, right? What was it? It was 4th and something. Lions are in field goal range. They're up 17. They kick a field goal. Yes, it's 20, and that still doesn't change. You know, it's still a 3-score game. But I mean, like, I feel like that's where the game really started like turning around. That's a momentum thing, right? They don't get it. Niners get that crazy tip pass, doinks off the guy's face mask into Ayuk's arms. They're downfield and they're rock and rolling. Like, I feel like it was a big momentum shifter. And I feel like if Dan kicks that field goal, that doesn't happen.
But in Dan's defense, if they get that conversion and they go down and score on that drive, that's a big momentum for them.
Absolutely,
and that could possibly change it for them, and they could possibly keep us out of reach. But it's also super risky, and it definitely didn't play out in his favor.
And I agree, and that's the same reason why I don't mind Zay Flowers' dive, right? Like, if it worked, it worked. If it didn't, it didn't. It looks bad. If it works, it looks good. I don't know. It's such a tough thing. But I think
if it don't work, it bites you a little harder than if it didn't, you know.
Absolutely. But the difference between those two situations, the Lions are up 3 scores, the Ravens are down. You know what I mean? I feel like if you're down, you're more inclined to be more aggressive.
Oh yeah, for sure. I feel like I'm not bagging on Zay or anything. I feel like, I mean, any guy that catches that is going to go for the touchdown. Like, it's not like it's just reaction for him. He's going to die for that touchdown. Well, no, I think anybody that you play to.
I'm just bringing it up because almost everybody that has talked to me about the Ravens game is talking about Zay Flowers, and I really don't think like that. I mean, yes, it changed the game, but I don't think it was as big of like a game changer as some other stuff was. Truthfully.
No, I mean, yeah. I mean, you look at it like during the regular season. There was plenty of good receivers that dove and all pops out
Justin
or gets knocked out.
CeeDee Lamb. Those are 2 big ones in my mind. Yeah.
I mean, it just happens. Like, you're reaching for that pylon, you got no protection. If some dude hits that ball, it's going to come out. Like, even if you have 2 hands on that thing, you got it out away from your body. Like, it's a risk.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if you're going to try to get that touchdown, I mean, it's worth it. But for the 49ers game, I I feel like it probably wasn't the right, but we all know how aggressive Dan Campbell is,
It's the kind of
and
coach he is.
he's gonna go for it. If it's under 5 yards, he's gonna go for it. That's just how he rolls. It's almost like you're expecting it, and I feel like the Niners played it well. I mean, the fourth down was dropped catch basically. I mean, the receiver dropped it, so it wasn't like the Niners played a really good defense on that fourth down conversion. It was just kind of mishandled by them, but that's what turned the tides of the game. And I feel like if they kicked the field goal, when we still could have came back. I mean, it didn't really change the layout of the score, but it could have kicked the momentum, not kicked the momentum over to the 49ers. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I think that bad coaching resulted in a huge momentum change in that game and really, really cost, the Lions that game. I think there was a lot of emotions. I think, even plays like the CJ Gardner-Johnson play where he, cheap shot at Deebo Samuel, which I feel like Deebo had that coming. He didn't hurt him. So, I think that, hey, I'm still here. So I'm okay with that. I did not like Dan Campbell not taking advantage of the field goals and taking, the opportunities that was right there in front of him. I think that the 49ers, from a good perspective was checking out. They were starting to check out. I saw Dre Greenlaw on the sideline. Really looked like he was broken. And I think they had them where they wanted them. This was following the touchdown by Gibbs. So, but hey, what are you going to do? Stuff happens. But that's my take on it. I think Dan Campbell, really kind of, didn't help his team out that particular day.
You think that this will start to? You think he'll start to lose some of the what's the word I'm looking for here? He'll start to lose the locker room a little bit for some of the guys.
No, I think that. I think a big part of it is that that's why his team likes him. Is that I think he exudes a certain level of confidence in the players, and I think they know and respect that, and I think that that's what what they love about that particular coach.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like the love for Dan Campbell definitely won't diminish from his calls. I mean, he's made these calls all season. Like, it's just who he is. I mean, it's probably not the right decision, but I mean, that's what defines him, is making these risky decisions. And I feel like the team knows it. The team knows he's gonna go for these, and it may not work out, and they're not gonna put that against him. I mean, even though it is really against him, but the team loves him. I mean, he's a dude the team wants to follow. And I feel like just because of play call and stuff like that he's aggressive, I feel like they like him even more because how aggressive he is.
Yeah, but it's tough when it loses you. Well, obviously, multiple things could have happened, but it's tough when it loses you games, especially this one.
Yeah, I mean, but you got to realize, like, it's not all Dan Campbell's fault. You got, it's a team effort. If you're gonna have a 24-7 lead and all of a sudden, by the into the third quarter, that lead's gone. You can't really put all the blame on the head coach. You got dudes not making plays and losing the fumbles and stuff like that. That you should probably be a little more conservative with your player. Your player should be a little more conservative, which it's more of a team effort more than just on the Dan Campbell.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, go ahead, Vince.
I was just going to say, just out of curiosity, is Dan Campbell the OC too? I don't think he is, but obviously, even as head coach, he can overrule it if they kick it.
He's not the OC.
Yeah. He still should have. Yeah, he can still obviously overrule it and say kick it, but
wait. No. It's Dan Campbell's decision.
It's definitely his call.
Yeah.
It's not the OC. We're not looking for people to blame here. The reality is that they had the 49ers in a position, Brock Purdy, he has this weird kind of grin and stare that he does. and the dude was looking like Jalen Hurts against the Bucks on the sideline. For a play.
You mean Jalen Hurts against any team on the sideline? That dude has one emotion.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, that might be true too, but I'm simply saying that Brock didn't look like himself. Dre Greenlaw's throwing his helmet. There was something to be said there.
Well, yeah, it was definitely a frustrating half for the 49ers. I mean, we're getting blown out in the first half of a championship game. It's going to demoralize your players, but I mean, it's more about how we turned around and were able to recuperate and bring it back out there the second half and act like the first half didn't even happen.
I kind of feel bad I feel bad for Lions fans because obviously they haven't been to a Super Bowl in however long, but they also haven't been to the conference championship in a very long time. And to get to this point, it's got to feel really good for them. Obviously, same with the Ravens. They didn't get to where they wanted to go, but I'm sure it does feel good to at least get here. And I do hope that they can appreciate the season that they had. And I'm sure they'll be back in the playoffs next year. They still have a really good team. I don't know how many pieces they're losing. I know Chauncey Gardner, but I'm not sure outside of that how many more pieces they're going to lose this offseason.
I don't think. I think Chauncey Gardner will re-sign with them.
Well, I mean, I would hope so, but you don't know because they actually have a quarterback that they're paying. You know what I mean? They might not be able to. I don't know what their cap situation is looking like.
I don't know. All that smack that Gardner Johnson was talking, dude, he got dribbled by McCaffrey.
What do you mean dribbled by McCaffrey?
McCaffrey fucking dribbled him with his hand.
Stiff arm, big.
Yeah, so I don't know how I feel about stiff arms. I think I said this on Sunday. I think that I'm watching running backs. I think McCaffrey did it in that particular game where they're grabbing the face mask of the defenders, trying to prevent them from tackling them.
Well,
and
if you grab the face mask, if you actually grab the face mask, it is a penalty on the offensive player.
You have to have a fly hand, yes.
He just had a flat hand and he just pushed his face mask away. It's
well, I'm pretty sure there was actually, and then I mean there was plays in those games that just was really weird, man. There was a stiff arm that I think that was actually put on a 49er defender. It was put on the 49ers defender, and was it the middle linebacker for the 49ers actually brought the guy down by his face mask.
Oh yeah. I've seen that. He just got, that was just a lucky no call. Like the ref didn't see it, but it was obviously a face mask. The ref didn't see it.
I mean, let's be honest. Most teams are fighting the opponent and the refs.
I'm just of the opinion that you shouldn't offensive player, defensive player, you shouldn't be able to touch the helmet. You don't want the defenders touching the helmet. Don't take touching the helmet out of the game.
That's gonna lead to so many penalties.
It's natural. I mean,
you're
gonna get hit with the helmet and stuff. I mean, as long as you don't grab the face.
Again, hitting with the helmet. I'm talking about where a player is reaching out and putting their hand on a guy's helmet. Just take that out the game. I mean, it's.
They can't do it on the line of scrimmage. But like an offensive lineman can't put his hand stiff arm like a defensive lineman because it's a hand to the face.
I don't know. It's not like he's punching the dude in the head. Like, I don't know.
I just don't. I just think that. Oh God, that she should just remove that from the game. That's just my opinion. I know running backs don't. Running backs may not have a lot of ways to kind of get away.
You're gonna ruin Derrick Henry's freaking repertoire, bro.
Can't be able to do shit. You just have to run and fall down.
But I mean, I don't know. I don't have a problem with the stiff arm. It's not like they're punching. It's not like they're punching him in the head. I don't mind no stiff arm. I do agree if they do the face mask, you got to be super careful because that could lead to some serious injury. But there's already a penalty there if they grab it. So I don't know. I feel
but I feel like the penalties are not being called.
That's
like,
just the refs. That's just the refs. We've talked about the refs being bad. That's just the refs not calling certain things.
Yeah, you can say that about any.
Absolutely, it's just the refs, and then there's nothing we can do about it. It doesn't matter how many times it's brought up. It's not something bad could happen in the Super Bowl, right? Like really bad, and all they're gonna do is either fire the crew that did it, fire the dude that did it. They're not gonna change the way these refs are being taught. They're not gonna change the way that any of that's happening. We're gonna get the same old refs. They're gonna keep getting paid. And it's just, we're gonna have to live with it, man. It's just something that's part of the game. Since Vince is gone, we don't need Vince for this. What is your opinion about Kellen Moore?
Okay, so I don't like the hire. I don't think that he's going to help develop Jalen Hurts. I don't think he's going to play necessarily towards Jalen Hurts' strengths. Now, why am I saying this? His history in Dallas, and while I believe he was unjustifiably, fired,
with the Chargers. Well, really quick, I think he got fired from the Chargers.
Cowboys, I'm talking about.
No, but he's with the Chargers last year.
Right. I'm looking at his history. So I'm talking about him being released from the Cowboys. I think he was a bit of a scapegoat there. I feel like if a coach is being too pass happy and he's placing too much at Dak's feet, then yeah, I mean, the coach has to step in and say, hey bro, come on, let's we need some balance here, right?
Mm.
And ultimately that's on the coach, the head coach. And I just think that if it is him doing this, I don't think that Jalen Hurts is going to benefit by throwing the ball 50 times a game. So now Justin Herbert, I can't honestly say I know whether or not, his coach was necessarily tied to him doing well or not doing well, in that game. But one thing not just that game, but that season, I don't know how much of that development is attributed to Kellen Moore. But I do like Justin Herbert. I think he has developed nicely as a quarterback. I am hoping that same development with Hurts does take place. But ultimately, I'm kind of not sold on it. We'll have to see how it turns out.
My opinion on Kellen Moore is that I just don't think it's not moving any needles. It just ain't. I agree. I don't think it's gonna change much. I'm curious to see what they do with the defensive spot. What have you guys done with the defensive spot? Have you guys hired anybody? Are you looking into anybody?
They hired Vic Fangio.
Oh, they actually officially hired Vic Fangio?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too thrilled about that guy either. I think that his scheme is probably really good. I think he's developed some really good players. But I think that his level of aggressiveness and his situational play calling, in my opinion, has never been good. When he was with the 49ers, I think they had a solid defense, but they also had some superstars on that team. Outside of that group, I don't know that he's been amazing. I know he's coached a lot of teams. I know he's been around for a while, but I don't know. I'm not thrilled by it.
Mm-hmm. I think this, again, I don't know. I don't think this moves no needles, but I do like this move simply for the fact that your defense is not going to get any worse than what it was. It can't. So at the very least, it's going to get better, at least a little bit. You might have the 20th ranked defense, but that was better than whatever the hell happened last year. I think that his scheme is, again, from what I've heard, players find it complicated, but once they get into it, they seem to like it. So we'll have to see how the team style fits. You guys have a good D-line regardless of who stays, who retires, who goes wherever. So I think if you have a D-line, that's a good place to start with any defense.
Right.
And as long as he doesn't have Hassan Reddick playing coverage, I think you guys will be fine.
Right.
So I don't know. Vince, have the Patriots done anything as of late that we know of?
Well, they hired
Gerard Mayo. We talked about Gerard Mayo.
Kind of. Yeah.
Then real quick then with the Bill Belichick news that I had heard. Again, this could be false. This could be true. I believe Fox is trying to pair him with Tom Brady and Gronk to have their own little panel for something. That was the news I've heard.
I don't see Bill Belichick being a commentator or anything like that.
I didn't say commentator. It's more like an analyst. And actually, if you watch the NFL Top 100 a few years back, Bill Belichick did a fantastic job on that. He did a fantastic job. I think that he very well could be a pretty good analyst. He obviously knows football. At the very least, you can say he knows football.
I'm a commentator because he doesn't talk a whole lot, but
I'm not saying commentator. He's not going to commentate a game. I don't see that happening. I think that I don't know how true it is again, but if he paired him with Tom Brady and Gronk, I think it could be a pretty interesting show if they decide to make a show or whatever they're going to make out of it. I think it could be interesting. And it was that he was going to do that for a year, see if he likes it. If he doesn't like it, he'll try to see if he can find a coaching spot next year for maybe like Dallas if Mike McCarthy gets pushed away, or maybe Philadelphia if Nick Sirianni does something, right? Like I heard that was the rumor that I had heard, and I think that makes a lot of sense. So I don't know.
yeah, other than Mario, I haven't heard anything, any additions or any. I haven't looked that closely, if at all, but I have not. I have any knowledge of any new additions so far.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because we're gonna hop into the Super Bowl preview now. Yeah. So I just wanted to see if we had any news from any of our teams, because let's be honest, this is a show about the NFL, but it's more so a show about our teams, if we're being honest.
Well, that's just because we know the most about our team.
No, but let's get into the Super Bowl. I mean, it's the last game of the season, right? Like, I obviously it sucks that my team's not there, but I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna tune in. I know a lot of people don't like the two teams that are playing, but I'm gonna tune in and I'm gonna hope it's a good game, because after this game, we got however many months of no NFL football. So
right.
It's 49
football.
That's just not for me. I just can't get into that.
Quick question: Does anyone else have family members that are like lame to where they just the only reason they watch the Super Bowl is commercials and commercials only? Because my sister and dad do that.
People do that for the halftime show.
Stopped being good like 3 years ago.
People only watch the halftime show.
What?
You know that, right? There's a lot of people that only watch the halftime show. They don't even watch the football game.
Well, they tune into they aren't going to watch the whole game for 30-minute halftime. Like they'll just turn it on.
Some people only do that. Like, Vince, there's people out there that just don't care about football, and that's okay. That's why the Super Bowl is such a good thing for our sport, because it brings. Cause some people will actually watch the game that they don't actually watch the game. I think it's a good thing. It sucks, obviously, but it's a good thing. For the commercials, for the halftime show, it's bringing people into the sport that we love, and hopefully it can spread. So, I don't know. That's my thought on it. And no, my family either doesn't watch it or watches it. Like there's no in between. My mom only watches it if the Eagles are in it. My siblings really don't care. If I have enough food, if I have food, I'm sure somebody will watch the game with me for a little bit. But it'll probably just be me in my room watching the Super Bowl this year.
They'll watch until the food.
Or maybe Elmo has some food over, and I'll come hang out with Elmo and watch the Niners Super Bowl. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All my dad really watches football. Everybody else in my house don't really. They just don't really care really for it.
Yeah, it's pretty much just me. And Rain will be in there with me sometimes.
That's basically me. I'm the only big football fan in my family. My mom started getting into it when I played in junior high. She started getting into football, but yeah. She doesn't know a whole lot about it, but
my like I said, if the Eagles are on, my mom will watch. If any other team is on, she's not watching. That's pretty much how it goes with my mom. My siblings don't care. My brother Nico will check in with me for like 10 minutes out of the day, and he'll be like, "Oh, what's going on?" And he'll watch maybe like 2 plays, and then he'll get out of there quick. He says he's a Dolphins fan, by the way, which is crazy to me. I don't know how he even knew who the Dolphins were, but he's a Dolphins fan apparently.
He saw Tyreek Hill playing Fortnite.
Maybe
so much wrong.
He might have seen Tyreek Hill play Fortnite. Who knows? No, but I want to get into the Super Bowl. As we were talking about, Chiefs, Niners. Let's just start with our picks, and then we can go into the actual preview itself. Elmo, I mean, we know your pick, but go ahead. What's the score prediction at the very least?
I'm going to go 49ers. Score prediction, let's see. I'm going to go 49ers 24, Chiefs 10.
Oh, damn. Okay. So you're saying the Chiefs get locked up then?
That's my score, dude.
Okay, Vince, what do we think? Non-biased opinion, what are we thinking? Game pick and then score prediction.
When I'm struggling between whether I think the Chiefs put up 17 or 21, but I'll say Chiefs win 21 to 17.
21-17, so much closer. Okay, Bigster, you got an opinion? You want me to say mine first, or?
All right. So I think we talking about Patrick Mahomes, and I can't go against that guy.
That's fair.
I think that I'm gonna have to go Chiefs, and I'm gonna say I'm gonna take 27-24 in a tight nail biter, leaning to the side of the Chiefs for a few reasons. First reason, the Niners kicker sucks.
That's fair.
That's
fair.
I thought about that too.
That guy sucks. It's gonna be a big game. Hopefully, it's a lot better field than the field that they played on last year. I think Brock Purdy struggles against teams that run exotic defenses. And I think that outside of the Ravens, which I think a big part of the reason why the Ravens beat the 49ers is because they confused Brock Purdy. And I think if anybody's going to come with a confusing game plan, it's Steve Spagnuolo. I don't think they're going to lock him up. I think they're going to really make efforts to stop Mr. Christian McCaffrey, because I think stopping him is the key. Because Deebo Samuels is, I'm sorry, the dude is a running back. I guess he's a threat whenever he gets the ball in his hand, but he is a running back. So I don't think they're gonna really go out of their way to stop Deebo. You know, if he's not getting his jet screens, I don't think he's gonna be relevant. Like he really wasn't relevant this past game. So I think that there's going to be a game plan centered around stopping McCaffrey, and I think Steve Spagnuolo, who's won multiple Super Bowls, has shown that he's capable of doing that. And the only time the Chiefs lose a game is if they can't catch the ball. And I don't think the Niners has anybody. I don't think anybody in this league, and it's just not a shot at the Niners, I don't think they have anybody in the league can cover Travis Kelce. That dude is playing like he was playing this week. And, you know, provided the dude that was covering him was 6'4". Huh?
Said Fred gonna lock him up.
Fred is not gonna lock that dude up. He's never have. And I don't think that's gonna happen. Listen, that dude is gonna get his. And I'm sorry. And I think that if Kyle Hamilton did a great job second half. You know, but that dude was just making some unbelievable catches. And Mahomes is, you know, when you think you got him, you don't got him. So we'll see. You know, it's going to be an indoor Super Bowl. I think, you know, it's going to be a tight game. But I think the Chiefs come out on top. And y'all didn't hear this from me. You can edit this out. The NFL loves Patrick Mahomes, too.
Well, they also love Taylor Swift. That's big for business for the NFL. No, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with the exact same score. I'm gonna go 27-24, but I'm gonna go with the Niners actually. And it is because Christian McCaffrey. You say they're gonna find a way to bottle up Christian McCaffrey, try to find a way to stop him. I don't know. That's yet to be seen. I just don't see a way you can do that. Whether it's through the ground, whether it's through the air.
And Brock Purdy had an off game last game.
Yeah.
Still had over 100 yards, scrimmage yards, and multiple touchdowns. So.
No, I hear you. But like I'm saying, the Chiefs' run defense is not very good. I don't see a world where the Niners don't try to run at least more than the Ravens did. And the Niners have the best running back in the league. So I don't see a way that this Chiefs defense, and it is very sticky coverage. They played really good coverage. And the Niners, Debo, whether you have an opinion on Debo, Ayuk is a really good receiver. George Kittle, really good tight end, right? We talk about the matchups on Travis Kelce. I don't see who's going to be covering some of these dudes I don't see who's going to be covering Christian McCaffrey or George Kittle. I just don't see that.
That's fair.
So I don't know. I think that the matchups actually do fare well for the Niners. And you talk about drops, you're absolutely right. The Chiefs, it's if they're not dropping the ball, they are absolutely hard to beat. And obviously they've been there. Brock Purdy hasn't. But guess what? They've been dropping it all season long. It's gonna be a key drop eventually.
Well, I'm gonna say this. You know what? You're right. The matchups does not favor the Kansas City Chiefs. But if we're being completely honest, right?
The coaching does.
The 49ers have lost what? They lost 5 games this season, right? And
yeah,
the point that I'm making is that even the teams that beat the 49ers, nobody matches up with the 49ers, if we're being completely honest. And I think that what's going to happen is that Kyle Shanahan is an amazing coach. And I think he wins a lot of games because his game planning and his preparation is really, really good, right? And he's that guy, right? He's that guy. And he really puts Christian McCaffrey in positions to pass, and to succeed. But you know who Kyle Shanahan has never outsmarted? You know who he's never really beat? Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo. So the reality is that this is a coach that knows Kyle Shanahan. He knows the window dressing. He knows Kyle Shanahan's father, who taught him all this window dressing. Because I think 99% of what the 49ers do is very simple. I think it's very simple. They just make it look extremely complicated. And I think George Kittle is going to get his. I think that, Ayuk is probably going to get his. But I think that when it comes down to it, it's going to be a close game. And I think that those young players that's on the Andy Reid side, because they have the youngest secondary, those guys have been showing up playing ball. And I don't know that they're going to come out, those exotic blitzes that Steve Spags run, it can confuse a lot of people. And I think that in passing situations, let me be clear, if the 49ers can't run that ball and move and be productive on first and second down, it's going to be a long day for Brock Purdy.
19th ranked run defense, just so you know.
I'm just calling. Listen, they came into the Ravens game last weekend with the 19th ranked defense.
We ran the ball 8 times with our running backs.
I know, but there was probably some kind of reason behind it.
Gus Edwards had averaged 6 yards a carry.
He only had
2 carries.
So then the reason why the Ravens lost is their coach. There can be no other thing about it. Nobody can blame the refs or anything. If you're getting 6 yards a pop and you refuse to run the football, that's kind of on the coaching.
I don't disagree.
So I'm simply just saying that I don't think it's going to be a game of the mind. They're going to be playing chess. I think that, this will not be a game that Kyle Shanahan outsmarts. Andy Reid. I just don't see that happening. So
no, absolutely. I don't see that happening either. That's why I literally under my score. I was thinking about this game earlier. My big difference maker. I have it 27-24, same as you, to the Niners side. My big difference: Christian McCaffrey. I circled Christian McCaffrey. If the Niners win, Christian McCaffrey is going to have a good game.
Right.
Really good. He's going to win MVP. If the Niners win, Christian McCaffrey is winning Super Bowl MVP. That's what has to happen for the Niners to win.
Oh, did you say Chris McCaffrey MVP? Okay.
We feed with Chris McCaffrey. We feed him.
No, I know you feed him. That's why I think you guys. That's why I think you guys are going to win. Because I know McCaffrey's going to get his touches.
Listen, it is amazing how many tackles he breaks. It's amazing.
Guy runs hard. But so does everybody else on the Niners. I mean, that's just kind of how we roll.
Mm-hmm.
We're kind of a yak team.
Yeah, I don't see this being a game where Brock Purdy takes over and has to throw a bunch. If it gets into that game, then I can absolutely see a world where, because I mean, let's be honest, we all agree Patrick Mahomes is the better quarterback. Yeah, so I mean, like if it gets into a game where it's straight passing, I don't think any of us can pick the Niners. The Niners have the better targets, absolutely, but it's so hard to outpass Patrick Mahomes. It just is.
Well, I gave my score, but I didn't really give a reason, so I'll give him that just to make it quick.
Go for it.
Well, I didn't either. I didn't really ask for a reason.
I don't see a world where they stop DMT. I think he's literally 80% of the offense. Maybe a little less, but yeah, he's most of the offense. I don't see a world where any team stops him, really, especially the Chiefs. But I just can't bet against Mahomes in postseason. And obviously, like I said, I chimed in for 2 quick words, and I said, yes, the Niners have the better matchups, but the Chiefs definitely have the better coaching. And then, like I said, Pat Mahomes, he plays amazing in the regular season, but he bumps it up even more in the postseason. And then Travis Kelce had Kyle Hamilton, who's amazing safety. He had 11 catches that game too against them.
Yeah, he played great. So since we're here,
all against Kyle Hamilton, but I hear you.
Since we're here, okay. So let's put the cards on the table. Let's go into the matchup. I know we weren't really prepared for this, but I think that we should just briefly analyze this, right? So I'm gonna name a position group, and you guys just say which team you think has the edge.
Go for it.
How's that?
Go for it. That sounds good.
Quarterback.
Chiefs.
I'm going Chiefs too. Offensive line.
Two.
I'm going Chiefs.
It's close. I think it's close.
It's close, but I think the edge goes to the Chiefs.
I'm gonna say Niners. I'm gonna say Niners because Joe Thuney's out.
Okay. All right, that's fair.
He's out, but yeah,
I mean, I'll say the Chiefs have a better O-line than us. I don't think our O-line doesn't play. We have like a middle pack O-line. Our left side real strong.
I wouldn't say that. Y'all have a great y'all offensive line. They move some dudes out the way.
Really good. I
don't think either O-line is great. I think they're both middle of the pack.
Yeah, that's fair.
I give the edge to the Chiefs, despite the Chiefs are really
do you know who the most? I was gonna say, do you know the most penalized lineman in the league is?
Yeah,
probably the Chiefs.
It's Jawan Taylor for the Chiefs. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think I'll give it to the Niners because I think Trent Brown is probably the best lineman in football right now. Trent Williams.
What happened before Laramie Tunsil got his big contract, this last contract? He had the most holding calls than any other lineman in the league, and then he got paid, signed a contract, and became the highest paid. And what has he done since then?
Pro Bowler.
Let me be clear. I'm not saying that the right tackle is going to become Tunsil, but I'm just saying, you're going to have mistakes. You're going to get beat, and then make mistakes like holding it.
Go ahead, Big. Go back to the just go ahead and start naming off positions again. We got kind of too much into that.
Let's say running back. Niners.
49ers. Yeah.
But the Chiefs aren't very far behind. I mean,
Panko's good.
He's real good.
Hey,
he's not
you just call Pachinko?
He's not a top 5 guy though. He is really good, but he's not a top 5. McCaffrey is 1 or 2.
Hey, listen, he's missed a showboat after every run. Dude can lose 5 yards and he's gonna celebrate. Well, okay. So let's say wide receiver group.
Niners.
I'm going Niners. Defensive line. Well, let's say D tackles.
You missed one on the offense. That's probably the closest of all.
The tight end. No, don't say closest of all.
It's Chiefs. I think it's
Chiefs. 49ers are tight end.
Nah, I'm going Chiefs. Listen, there's things that they play the game at a different. They're different. They're different types of players at the tight end position. I
I'll say
think
that.
Different players, but I feel like George Kittle is a truer tight end than Travis
I was
Kelce.
going to say, I'll say this. Kittle's the most complete tight end. He can run block. But as far as receiving ability, I give it to Kelsey. But
okay. Hold on a
Kittle's
second.
the most complete
Hold on,
tight
hold
end.
He can get open, but
Hold on a sec.
he's not a truer tight end than George Kittle.
Okay,
is.
so the argument can be made is actually that he's a better football player than Kittle. Here's why. Number one,
Oh.
Travis Kelce can run block. Number one. Number two, his athleticism is completely proven. That dude they can hand the ball off to Travis. They can hand the ball off to Travis, and he can actually run the football. So that's two things. So I mean, listen, I get it if you want to say it's closer than it is, but you can't simply just say because of his ability to run block, he's a better. No, that dude is probably going to be one of the greatest tight. He's actually probably the greatest tight end to ever play the football game.
If Kelsey, if they get another ring, I could definitely see people calling
Are you kidding me?
Travis Kelce the greatest tight end of all time.
Listen,
If you're saying the position group as of all time or this season,
all
this
time.
season,
I'm saying all time.
No, we can't say all time. We can't say all time. It
I'm
has to be
going to
this
say
season.
all time. I'm going to say all time. What is he like? 11 to 12,000 receiving yards.
if you're saying all time,
We cannot.
Did you say he can't block? Oh, come on. All right, you know what?
He
All right.
blocks average. He's an average blocker.
Most blockers are average blockers. Kittle is probably an average blocker. Who does Kittle block?
No.
Aiden Hutchinson last game, dude.
Yes, he blindsided him, hit him on the side, and he pancaked him. I saw that. That was what that happened
Okay,
one
hold
time.
on. You guys need to hold on 1 second. We're talking about just the tight end position, right? Who's better right now, right? Kittle or Kelsey?
Kelsey.
I'll put this.
I think it is
Big,
still
you said-
Kelsey, but we cannot be talking about all time when we're talking about this Super Bowl, talking about the matchups. We cannot be talking all the time because McCaffrey is 10 times better than if we're talking about his full career over Pacheco.
McCaffrey?
10
Wait,
times.
we're talking about
He's got an offensive player of the year. No, I'm saying if we're talking about all time, then going out of these positions, McCaffrey is 10 times better. So we cannot be talking about all time.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, I'm gonna say this season.
I still think
this.
it's Kelsey. I still think it's Kelsey.
It absolutely is.
Athleticism goes to
Kelsey
Kelsey.
in the playoffs, but Kittle was better during the season.
That's what we're in though. We're in the playoffs.
Kittle's just as athletic. You can argue. Some people will argue more athletic. He's just as athletic as Travis Kelce. The only difference
Who can't be?
is
Oh, go ahead. I'll let you finish it.
is Travis is a better route runner than Kittle. But Kittle's just as athletic. But
Kittle's not uncoverable in my mind. The position's out. What positions did we not talk about as far as the Niners Chiefs?
Let's see. Defensive back.
Defensive backs,
cornerback,
Chiefs.
defensive back,
Chiefs. It's the Chiefs.
I'll lean towards Chiefs. Yeah.
Who are the Chiefs?
Okay. So safety.
Isn't that defensive back?
I would probably probably Chiefs.
I'll lean towards that. That strongly, I'll lean towards it.
Who is their free
Yeah,
safety?
Well, they don't have Hufanga right now at the moment, so.
Oh, our safeties are Deshaun Gibson and Jair Brown.
I know you guys. I meant the freaking Chiefs. I know they have Justin Reed, but who's their other safety?
They have Reed, and then who's the other guy?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
Someone who's on the computer, look it up, please, because I look it up on my phone. I'm gonna be like zoomed into my forehead. But
I don't know who their freaking. I don't know who their free safety is.
while he's looking this up, I can just continue and get the easy one out of the way. Kicker. That's the easy one. Even though you're not going to be
Chiefs.
counting that as much.
It's the Chiefs.
Yeah, obviously, that's why I said I got the easy one out of the way.
I think
While you're looking up.
linebacker's the easy one.
Linebackers.
I think it's the
Yeah,
the
the
Niners.
Chiefs.
I almost said the Chiefs. It's the Niners.
I said Chiefs, but I meant Niners. Yes.
I did almost the same exact thing. It's the Niners. The Niners have the better linebackers.
Oh, they got
said
Mike. They
Chiefs
got Mike
because
Edwards.
everything else I've said Chiefs.
Oh, they got
on
Mike
almost,
Edwards?
except-
Yeah.
Do they really? Hell, I might give it to the Niners then. No, I'm just kidding. I'm giving it to the Chiefs still. But yeah, that's crazy. I didn't know Mike Edwards was their safety. I watched the Chiefs play the whole game, and I didn't know they had Mike Edwards.
Defensive line. I also give that to the Niners. But
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you go defensive tackle is.
Oh, obviously Chris Jones is better than Javon Hargrave.
It's tough because the Chiefs have one D tackle. The Niners have multiple.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, okay. I mean, Chris Jones is he's all pro guy. But yeah, we can give it to, man, okay.
It's Chris Jones, and then you compare all the other positions on the D line, and you have to give it to the Niners.
Right.
So yeah, you say D line is the entire D line is going to probably go Niners. So yeah, I go Niners.
In my mind, it's the Chiefs have the DBs, but the Niners have the front seven, and I feel like the games are won in the trenches, aren't they?
What's the name of my mutt team? Yeah.
So here's where we slightly differ, right? I think that the 49ers have two really good linebackers. Mm-hmm. Right? Two really good linebackers. I don't even know who their third linebacker is, to be quite honest.
How many do the Chiefs have?
Flanagan Powell.
I think Nick Bolton, and I think what's his name? Tranquill. I think they're really good linebackers.
Tranquill's not even playing.
Hey, but let's say this, okay? Compare Bolton to Fred Warner.
Drew Crank. Say again, Vince.
Okay, I think Bolton's good, but let's go this, okay? Compare Bolton to Fred Warner then.
Okay. I mean, you can't. I mean, one guy's gonna probably be a Hall of Famer, bro. I mean, if we're being honest.
And then who's the other guy you named?
And let's see, Nick Bolton's probably been. Well, Willie Gay is out. I mean, Nick Bolton's been in the league maybe 2 years.
They have a guy called Chanel, right? That was who was playing in the Ravens game. They didn't have Tranquill playing. It was some dude named Chanel or something.
But Tranquill played. He played because he actually I think he got a sack or something in that game.
Drew Tranquill? Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
And then I would say, compare the Chiefs' second best linebacker to Trey Greenlaw, and it's still Niners.
You would have to compare Nick Bolton to Dre Greenlaw.
I compared Nick Bolton to Fred Warner, so I can't do that.
Yeah, but that's not a comparison. It's more of a comparison if you compare him to Dre Greenlaw.
The Niners have the better linebackers. I don't know. What are we talking about here?
I'm comparing Nick Bolton.
What are you trying to compare here?
I'm comparing.
Have overall a better linebacking core.
Why are we talking about
this? That's what I'm saying.
You don't need to compare it.
Big started bringing up, well, they have Nick Bolton and they have this other guy.
Dude, I never said that. I never said that they didn't have the edge.
Big said the 49ers had the better.
The 49ers had the better, but I said Nick Bolton. I think is a really good linebacker.
I think Nick Bolton's a good linebacker. I agree, but he's probably the third best linebacker in that game.
Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, that's fine. You know, it's nothing wrong with that. He's a really good linebacker.
I agree. I think he is a good linebacker. I think he's underappreciated.
That dude in the Super Bowl last year against Jalen Hurts, who people say, you know, that was the greatest. I've heard people say that's one of the greatest Super Bowl performances they've seen. And that dude was all over Jalen Hurts. Like, that dude was playing like a monster, bro. He looked like Ray Lewis. And maybe I shouldn't say that. Never mind. That dude was a beast in that game. So I don't get to see a lot of them.
We've done all of them.
Sorry, keep going.
We've done all the we've done all the positions.
I can say we've done everything except probably
fullback. Who's got the better fullback?
I don't know.
The most.
You
check irrelevant position.
Eight-time Pro Bowl, 8-time All Pro.
I'm pretty. It seems like it's regardless of who you pick, it seems like it's pretty even. A lot of this, it seems like it's pretty even when we go through like, who has the advantage in certain positions. It seems pretty even.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah. So yeah, just to clarify, you said the games are won with the trenches, and I'd absolutely agree. Especially, I'll say when Niners are on offense, being CMC, that's definitely going to be the case. maybe not as much so when Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs, are on offense. However, when the Chiefs lost to the Buccaneers, it was the front seven because they were blitzing the crap out of Pat Mahomes and making him run. So yeah,
Well, they were blitzing with DBs though. They were like
they were blitzing, and also just the offensive line was getting beat even by the D line.
Okay.
But yeah.
So let's dive into that for an example, right? So let's just think about that, Vince. Right? Who was the defensive coordinator of the Buccaneers when they beat the Chiefs?
I don't know. I'm just gonna throw around.
it's their current head coach. I'm pretty sure
It's their current head coach, right? So where did he learn, and what defense does he run? Come on, Vince. Just take a guess.
I'm trying to. This
Just
sounds
guess.
bad, but I'm honestly trying to think of who the head coach is.
it's Todd Bowles. It's Todd Bowles.
Oh, Todd Bowles. I know
I-
he was in Denver.
he was in
Not
Denver.
Denver,
Was he in Denver?
New York,
No.
New York,
Yeah.
Jets.
He was with the Jets, right? He was with the Eagles, right? He was with the Eagles learning the same defense that Steve Spagnuolo was learning under Andy Reid. They were all together. They run the same defense. That exotic defense is that weird stuff that he was running against Jalen Hurts, where he was like, what in the world am I looking at? Like he was seeing ghosts, and Jalen Hurts went on the sideline and was like, looking like that. They pretty much that's what Brock Purdy is going to be facing. That same defense. And you know what? That same defense, I guess you can argue, is the defense that had the Detroit Lions on the ropes too. Because the Detroit Lions,
I also this. Sorry,
ahead.
keep going. I thought you were done.
I was gonna say they didn't whip the Buccaneers. They beat them, but they ain't whipped them boys like everybody thought they were. So it's something to
I
be
will
said.
say,
I feel like Brock Purdy does pretty well under throwing under pressure, like getting the ball out while a dude's in his face.
That's because he throws a normal pass like he's under pressure.
I'll
Yeah.
say, especially more towards second half, Bosa is probably what helped that defense in the second half because he started getting sacks, and he got him against a good Penei Sewell. Now going against the most penalized offensive lineman in the league, that's going to give Pat Mahomes problems.
Vince, you
Okay.
picked the Chiefs to win, did you not? Why does Vince sound like he's going for the Niners in this?
So hold on a second. Hold on.
I'm just talking problems that I see them having, but
Okay. So
but yeah.
so let me ask you a question. Did you watch the game yesterday?
What?
If not, did you watch the game yesterday?
I watched the second half. You were in the Xbox party with me.
I know.
I said I'm going over all the highlights and all that.
All right. So here's the one thing I will tell you: the difference between Andy Reid, right, and Dan Campbell, right. I know this for a fact, and I seen this all year long with Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa doesn't have the sack numbers because of what? He's either being chipped or he's being double teamed. Do you think? But they saw him. They were leaving him out there by himself. Like Nick Bosa had an unbelievable game, and he lined up on that right side the entire game. When he played against the Eagles, he lined up over Lane Johnson, and he didn't do nothing. So it's all relevant to the team and the coaches that you're playing. And I trust me, if Andy Reid, I watched
Lane Johnson. Sorry, that was unintentional cutting you off. I didn't even think you were done. That was just a mistake on my part.
You said I was bitching about Lane Johnson. Is that what you said?
No, I said you were talking about Lane Johnson, but yeah, that's where I'm getting to. Okay, that's a player, like how good the tackle is at that point, because I said he got 2 sacks against a very good Penei Sewell. Now he's going against a right tackle who's the most penalized lineman in the league and nowhere near as good as Penei Sewell.
Okay, but I was making my ultimately point was that they're going to help him, Vince. They're going to help him, and you know what? When the Eagles, I'm gonna use the Eagles as an example. When they played the Chiefs, right? Because I think that Hassan Reddick and Nick Bosa are on pretty much the same level sacks wise every year, right? Give or take 2 or 3 sacks, right? Even when they play against, let's say, the Cowboys. Or actually, the Chiefs didn't play the Cowboys, but they played the Eagles. Every play, Hassan Reddick was getting hit by a tight end or a running back. They were chipping him every time just to slow him down. Now, the difference is game, and I'm telling you right now, on the opposite side of the ball, that I don't think that the Chiefs aren't going to send 4 at the 49ers. They're going to send 5 and 6. And you can mark my word. They're going to come out and they're going to just blitz and they're going to blitz and they're going to blitz.
They're going to blitz. Absolutely.
They're going to blitz. You know.
But I mean, to Vince's point, they got a sixth lineman on their team.
That's what you can say. Okay, how much? Like you, just to go back to where you were talking about blocking and all that. Tight ends don't actually block D linemen, which I was saying they do, but outside linebackers. Well, let's go to D linemen, defensive ends in particular. Tight ends, yeah, they don't do them one-on-one. What are they actually doing typically? They're double teaming or they're double teamed by chip and then go on a route. So they're not actually blocking straight up, yes. But he's still a better blocker. That's going to help the tackle much more. But anyway, I'm kind of helping my point but holding my point by saying he's not technically one-on-one with him. But
okay, well, I think we've lost our point here. I think.
Yes, we have. I'm helping my point and holding it at the same time.
No, I think we as a collective have lost our point because we ended up talking about skill positions and we ended up start comparing players and we started really getting to things that I feel like we kind of got out of hand with.
We got into a good conversation and then ruined it. But
I think that there's a lot of good pieces on both teams. I think it's going to be a really good Super Bowl. I think it's going to be close. I don't feel like it's a lopsided thing. I don't. I think regardless of what it is, it's going to be a good game, and that's all I can ask for.
I feel like it's hard to compare these two teams because how different they play.